Thank you. Is this on? Can you hear me? The climb continues. I think everybody's really excited about it, especially when I walk around at football games. You see the excitement from our fans. Our players are seeing it and really feeling it. I think recruits are seeing it as well. Our alums are seeing it. It's been really an awesome feeling. Walking around and all these Penn Staters coming up to us, and they know we're headed in the right direction. They know we're doing a lot of positive things. Building off 26 wins, 51 records broken, cutting down some nets, get one of our first players drafted since '99. A lot of exciting things. Shep Garner just signed with the Pistons, G League team. So we have to keep this momentum going in that direction. As far as our team, Lamar is, playing really good basketball right now. He looks like a grown man. He's put on about 27, 28 pounds. Was at Nike Basketball Academy this summer. Really represented Penn State basketball very well. He was the fourth player in our 7 years to go to Nike Basketball Academy or LeBron. So that's just a fantastic statistic for us. Our players are doing a great job. Josh Reeves, he's back to his old self, again, all over the floor. Obviously, those two guys are all Big Ten caliber players. I know Rose just addressed Mike, but he was back in practice playing really good basketball. He's been our attitude king for a lot of weeks there. So really positive around those three guys. I know Rose also mentioned about John. John has been playing really good basketball. 7-1 last year as a starter, and he did not miss any steps going into this preseason. Really doing a good job for us, rebounding the ball, defending, and he's extended his range out to the three-point line. So that'll be great for everybody to witness. Jamari Wheeler, I know, is the next guy you're going to ask about. He is playing terrific. I know everybody's playing great, right? But they really are. Specifically, these five guys are playing tough Penn State basketball right now. They're defending, they're rebounding. Jamari's shooting the ball. He's made 6 threes. He's 3 for 5 on Saturday. He was 3 for 3 yesterday. So his shot is really improved. I don't know if that's me or back there. So I'm excited about those guys. And then the freshmen, I think you guys are going to love them. Really high IQ guys, can shoot the three, can make plays for others, really defending, rebounding. They're winners. They're competitors. Really stepped into a situation where I was impressed with their conditioning throughout the summer. And they just continue to get better. They continue to be coachable, and they're going to be a big part of what we do as we continue the climb this season. Open for questions. Hey, Mark, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Listen, I get that you say you don't want to answer questions about Mike, but I don't understand how you can say that he's winning attitude club, and now we can't ask a question.
You can ask me about basketball.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, ask me about basketball.
At what point does somebody get into trouble so many times that you can't depend on them as a leader and a consistent player for your team?
What I would say that is we got to let this play out. Let due process play out. But I will address this. Do you know where Mike's from?
Yeah.
Where is he from?
Philadelphia.
You ever been there?
Yes.
And what do you think?
You've had other people from Philadelphia you haven't gone.
You've never been there. You've never been there.
So you're saying that...
I'm not saying anything. What I'm saying is, no. Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been to Philadelphia.
Have you been where he lives?
I've never lived where he lives.
Okay. We're trying to help and guide. We're trying to give a kid a chance. Let us do our due diligence. Let us give a kid a chance. If not, he's going to wind up back on the street. I appreciate that. Thanks, Mark.
Hey, Pat, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Going back to Lamar, and you said he looks like a grown man out there in practice. What about his leadership qualities have you seen as well, not just as a basketball player, that have translated to some of the younger guys that are on the team this year?
You know what? He merged at the end of last year. I think you noticed that, not with just point production, but on the floor, communicating, talking in the locker room, and then staying around both summer sessions. I really think he showed these guys that his commitment level to Penn State basketball, his commitment level to getting better. And then he's just passing down words of wisdom. You got to remember, when Lamar was a freshman, everything was on him, right? Him and Tony. to get things done, to score, to do it all. And now he can take those words of wisdom, that knowledge, that what he went through, those experiences that he went through, and pass them down to these freshmen. And here's the good thing about these freshmen, unlike Lamar and Tony. They don't have the pressure on them that Lamar and Tony had. They can play the Robin and not be the Batman. They can play the third or fourth, scorer on the team. So Lamar's really embracing that role.
And Rose mentioned John's injury, but when he was on the court for you guys in the offseason, what other aspects have you seen him grow? And you said he extended his range on the three-point line, but as a defender and a rebounder, how else have you seen him grow?
Yeah, I think you're going to notice his body right away. He's really lean. He was a football player last year playing basketball. And I looked at his minutes throughout the year, and it kind of flatlined for a while, and then it took a little jump in the right direction for him. But he was big, he was beefy. When you walk out there and see him in that practice facility in a little bit, I think you're going to see a basketball player. He looks faster, he's jumping higher. Obviously, he's got great hands. His skill level's getting much better. So I think you're going to see a guy that we can rely on the offensive end as well.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Nate.
How are you?
Terrific.
Are there challenges that you anticipate as being unique to coming off of a successful season? And how do you anticipate addressing those challenges, whatever they may be?
Yeah, that's a good question. And that worries you, right? You won 26 games, and, we're treated very differently, and the buzz about our program is at an all-time high since I've been here, which is awesome, and that's the vision that I had for this program. But we just got to focus on getting better every day. And I know, we want to make the NCAA tournament. There's no secret about that. You guys already know that. But the true challenge here is to stay present and get that 1% better every single day. And if we can stay present, and if we can limit distractions, and we can get better every single day, I think we got a really good chance to be a successful team. But if we get ahead of ourselves and we're reading our headlines and we're relying on last year's successes, well, we're going to stub our toe more than a few times.
Just to follow up, are you aware, I guess, of this program's history with that? Its recent history in terms of 2009 and 2011.
I am, Nate. Thank you.
Well, does it matter to you? I mean, is that
It doesn't. We're a different team. We got a different program, different coaches, different time for Penn State basketball. So I know the stats, but we're gonna try to get better.
Hey, Pat, how's it going?
Is that Ben?
Yes.
Hey, Ben, how you doing?
Good. Living the dream. When you look at Jamari and Josh and Mike, all three of them have offensive assets, but they're probably all defensive players first to a certain extent. Are you still going to try and be this 85 points a game team, or are you going to lean on defense a little bit more? You played pretty good defense last year, so not to say that you haven't, but where does that fall in the hierarchy of what you want to be your biggest asset right now?
Yeah, you're right, Ben. I think we finished 19 in Ken Palm with all those great analytics that I know you guys like, and I like too. But definitely on the defensive side, I still 85 was awesome, and that's a lot of points. I think you're being a little dramatic, but I'd like to score 70 plus a game. I think that's a goal, and I like the possessions each at the end of each game where we were. I think defensively we got to turn it up a little bit. We had a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism, so I think we're gonna have to push out a little bit more. But I look forward to that because Jamari got to take advantage of his talents and his speed and his toughness and competitiveness. Same thing with Josh. Same with thing with Lamar. Lamar is really focused on his defense this preseason. He wants to become that guy that can cover 1 through 5, and that's very exciting to me. And John is as solid as they come. So if we can get some stops and some turnovers, much like we did last year, and get out and run, well, that's easy baskets for some of those guys who are so-called defensive guys.
And while I've got the mic, how do you work with Lamar in a post-Tony world? I mean, I'm sure he's going to be as good as he always was, but when you don't have that kind of guy on the floor with you, you're going to be the guy that they cue in on a little bit different.
Yeah, there's no doubt. We're already doubling him in practice. Anytime he touches the ball, we're doubling him. So he's going to learn how to make plays out of the double team, and he's going to find different ways to score the basketball if that's what they're going to do in the half court. Now, he's terrific in space. We already know that. He can get rebounds and push it himself. He's got to get himself to the free throw line. He should be in the top 5 in free throws attempted in the Big Ten this year. So if he can handle all those things, I still think he gets his 18, 19 points a game.
Hi, Coach.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, my name is Lauren from the Center Daily Times. My question is kind of a follow-up from the previous one. You return a lot of key players from last season, but you do lose a couple of your top three-point shooters. So how do you plan to replace the production from behind the arc?
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the statistics at the end of the season. Lamar was over 50%. He was 5 for 10. Josh was over 52%. So they shot the ball really, really well from three in that NIT run. And it's looking like they're going to pick that up here in the preseason going into the season. You add in a Miles Dredd who's shooting at a very, very high clip right now. Rasir Bolton, very high clip. Actually, all the freshmen are. They're north of 40% right now in practice, which is fantastic. It's practice, though. So we got to see what we do in these scrimmages coming up. And then we'll kind of gauge where we are. But they get in here, they get in the gym, they work on it, so they have the green light, so they can shoot it. And I think that really makes us tough to defend. If you're going to double Lamar and you're going to leave some of these guys open, and now these guys played high-level basketball. You're talking the top of the line Adidas, top of the line Nike, EYBL. So, I think they've seen a lot. I think they've played against a lot of high-level talent, and I think they'll be ready for it.
Hey, Coach.
How you doing?
Good. Has there been any attempt to get Isaiah a waiver to participate this season on the court? And if not, what can he bring to the team from a practice standpoint to help you guys get better?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to compare him to Josh, but I'm going to have to because he's a lefty and he's an incredible athlete. He's actually has a better vertical than Josh. So I expect him to be the best defender on the second team all year long and really push Lamar and Josh and these freshmen and try to push them the limits they didn't know they had inside them. So that's the goal for him. But I think you're going to like him. He knocked down a couple threes the other day. Obviously, he's very rangy in his defense. He's a great rebounder. So the sky's the limit for him. And we're looking into it, I would say, as far as researching the eligibility right away.
Hey, Coach.
you doing?
After really working so hard to kind of grow the program and then winning the NIT last year, what did it mean to you to get that contract extension in May?
Yeah. I don't want to say can I say relief? No. I want to say it was exciting. It was awesome. Just to see all your hard work over the years start to come together and then get rewarded by Sandy and President Barron and Lynn. I appreciate them. I thank them. But that's the kind of support you need. To feel good about what you're building and the direction that you're headed in. And you know what else it says? We've recruited some really good players here. Let's not discount the guys. They put us in the position to be successful. And my staff has been so incredibly loyal. I've had most of these guys since day one, and they've stayed, and when they've had other opportunities too. But they saw the vision, they believed in the vision, and we're going to see this thing through.
Hi, Pat. In the back.
How you doing?
Good. How critical is the freshman's development to the success that you guys have this season?
As long as our vets do their job, I think if we can get just a consistent effort from the freshmen, and what that means is if Miles is on, all right, we're good. If Miles is having a tough night, well, you got Rasir, you got MJ, you got DK, you got other guys that are able to make plays and make shots and put on the floor. So I think what we have is some depth. You got nobody. We didn't mention Trent Buttrick, but I expect him to play. He should be in our rotation of 8 or 9 guys. So when you got and Davis is still here as a senior, I plug him in everywhere. He started at Ohio State last year, gave us great minutes. So those guys we're going to count on. So that's the beauty of Josh and Lamar leading this team and John leading this team. So the freshmen don't feel like they have to do everything. They just have to hit open shots, which is kind of exciting, and defend and rebound, of course.
Hey, Pat.
How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. So as I was looking at a lot of the freshmen's biographies on Go PSU Sports, one thing that jumped out at me was Miles, his off-the-court stuff. He does community service, things like that. What has he already added to the locker room?
Yeah, he's a poet too. You guys should ask him about that when you sit down with him. He's a terrific. Writes poems all the time. He did that his senior year, like a senior project as well. He's a unique kid. They all are. We had a couple kids, which is awesome, that want to be academic All-Americans out of this freshman class. So not only are they great basketball players, great kids, but they're very good taking care of their studies. But Miles brings a level of confidence that DC Catholic League is one of the best, and he played on Team Takeover in EYBL. So he brings a very eccentric experience to the locker room and to the court. And he's every bit of 6'5", and he's about 218 right now. So he's got Big Ten ready body. So I think you're gonna like his personality, but I think you're gonna like how he plays.
Hey, Bat.
How you doing?
Good. With the way your team is being built right now, who is probably out of Shep and Tony maybe the toughest to replace right away?
You can never, first of all, replace a Tony Carr for what he did for this program. I mean, he put us on the map. He laid the foundation, and everybody kind of followed suit, which is fantastic. Same thing with Shep. Shep was fantastic. I'm so proud of him for what he did, and the senior year that he had to break that record of Big Ten is just huge for a Penn Stater to be at the top of that list. It's got to be a collective effort. You know, our front line is our strength. Not to say Jamari's not ready to take the ball, because those extra games, those extra practices we were able to play last year really benefited him and John. So we got to go through our front line, and they got to step up. It's going to be a little bit different, but guess what? I think these guys are up for the challenge.
And going back to Jamari, obviously last season may have not been maybe consistent minutes throughout the season, but probably going to have a big part of the starting lineup at least at the start. How do you think he'll handle that situation, and what are you looking from him?
I look forward to you guys talking to him. He is one of the most confident kids that I've ever been around for a 6-foot guard. And I'm being generous with the 6 foot. He's confident, he's cocky, he's tough, he competes, he steps on the floor. He does not, how do I say this nicely, shut up, which is a good thing. You want that. That's your point guard. Him and I need to be an extension of each other, and you want your point guard to nonstop talk and help these guys out, push these freshmen to get better, and that's what he's doing for us. And now he's knocking down shots because he's earned the right. He's in here every day. He's feeling really good about himself, really good about his shot, really good about his preparation and work ethic, and that's why I think you're seeing results. That's why I'm seeing results.
Going back to last season and just looking at Coach Ferry's impact, a year removed from bringing him in, what kind of impact do you think he's had, and just with the offense as a whole, how much better do you think he's made this team, and just working with guys individually, how much improvement have you seen just with him being here?
Yeah, I don't want to single out Coach Ferry. He's done a great job, but I think it's, you know, the entire group that was here last year did a phenomenal job on both sides of the ball. I mean, we still run the same plays we've been running for the last 6 years, but we just tweaked some things. Our spacing was a little bit better. Or we had more intent when it came to the offensive side. And let's be true here. When the ball goes in, everybody looks pretty good. You know, when the ball goes in the basket, especially the way we shot down the stretch. But I think Ferry has done a great job. We kind of kid him. We call it the Ferry factor. But I thought Keith Ergo, who's done a masterful job recruiting, and he's our defensive coordinator, he's been absolutely terrific in that area. Our defense has probably been our staple for the 7 years I've been here, and that's one thing that you're going to continue to see. So those guys have done a really good job.
Generally speaking, back over here in the sun.
It is bright. It is bright.
Generally speaking, your best players have been guards over the years. Now that is switching a little bit, not to say that you're not going to develop those guards or whatnot, how does that change your approach going into a year when your best guys off the bat are maybe not your guards?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, Ben, because now we're coming up with different ways to make sure Josh has some plays run for him, some plays for our 5 men, some plays for Lamar. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but we're enjoying that process. We've been working on end-of-game situations, end-of-clock situations. You don't have a Tony Carr who can bail you out and make a play or make a shot. But we're getting creative with Jamari and what he can do. We're getting creative with Josh and Lamar and what those guys need to do. So we're having a lot of fun coming up with different things to make sure we get the guys in the right position to be successful, because that's what we did for our team last year.
And young depth can sometimes be code for a lot of guys who are equally not ready.
That's why I mentioned Trent and Davis.
But where are they in the process of, if the Big Ten started tomorrow? It's a physical grind.
Yeah.
I realize you've got time between now and then, but in terms of plugging guys in that are going to be ready to go, not at Tony's level, obviously, but some comparable ability to do their roles, sufficiently?
I would tell you right now we have 4 starters, and we're looking for a 5th, and it's an absolute dogfight for that 5th spot between the freshmen, and it's been a lot of fun. And I've done a lot of different things. I've played 2 bigs together. I've played Trent and Lamar at the 4. I've really mixed it up to see what I wanted some flow and some consistency. I want to be efficient. So we've done a lot of different lineups, and right now the lineup that suits us best is the 4 guys and one of the freshmen. So which is exciting, and that shows growth and development. And then you got some youth coming off, but you also have some veterans coming off that bench.
Coach, as the climb continues to be ingrained into college basketball, does that make its way into everyday conversation at home with your family? And has Mrs. Chambers ever said to you, enough with the climb, talk like a normal person?
Absolutely. Funny question, but yeah, I find myself saying climb here and there to my kids. My kids are now saying it at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, whatever the meal may be. But, when I take them out to dinner or we're downtown or something, people are screaming climb. They scream climb back. So my wife probably had it up to here with climb. But, we got to keep climbing. We got to keep getting better. It really fits our program and fits the personality of who we are.
In terms of, last year non-conference play, there were some games that I'm sure you look back and you wish you had some maybe hampered your guys' tournament chances. What's the tough part about getting guys to take those games as seriously as those in the Big Ten when you play Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State?
We can only prepare every day to get better and to set the standard of Penn State basketball. And that's what we need to do, to not, slip up on games that you're supposed to win. We have to approach every game like it's the championship. We have to approach every game the same way. And if we do that, we'll find success. And if on those nights that you're not making shot, that's when you got to rely on your defense and rebounding. But if we can just get a little bit better each day, we'll be okay.
Pat, last season the offense had kind of a distinct feel to it, just with Tony's style of play developing throughout the shot clock, and just with the way he has his play style. It took time for him to get a shot off. But this season with Jamari at the helm at point guard, he's obviously a much different player. He plays a lot faster. Do you expect that to show up in the way you guys run your offenses? Do you expect to play a little bit faster, things like that?
I think we're going to play faster, but we call it fast to slow. Let's get the ball over half court as quickly as we can, but that's not necessarily take a shot in the first. We're not the Phoenix Suns back in the day with Steve Nash where you're shooting 7 seconds or less. We're not doing that. We want to get the ball up as quickly as we can, and we want to put pressure on the defense and reverse the ball and again, make plays. But Jamari will definitely allow us to do that. And so will Rasir. Rasir is a lot faster than people think and athletic. So, yeah, we're going to play faster.
I guess what I mean by that is, are you going to maybe take more advantage of some fast break opportunities with Jamari running and Len Rasir, as you mentioned, running the point, whereas last year maybe you would pull it back and develop a certain play for Tony or Lamar or something like that?
Yeah, I think whatever the situation presents, whatever is presenting itself at that point during the game, because there's times we want to play fast, but if we're winning, well, now the clock's really your enemy. So we just want to be strategic in everything we do.
Pat, one of the freshmen that we haven't mentioned yet is Daniil.
Yeah, DK.
I'm just curious, is he going to have a role this year? And also, I know he's been in America for a couple of years now, but does he have any relationship with Davis as another European player? What's he been like so far?
He's been a great personality for us. He's every bit of 6'7", really shooting the ball at a high clip. Got to work on his defense like all the freshmen do. Got to work on his rebounding because you're 6'7", you should be able to rebound the basketball. But I think he's adjusting. It's a process. It's a steady process of adjusting to American-style basketball and Big Ten basketball. And he's funny. He's like, my Russian coaches, they yell at me all the time. Don't worry about it. So he's a great kid, high academic kid too. So I think you'll enjoy meeting him. He's got a great kind of a dry personality, but very funny.
Hey, Coach.
How you doing?
So you haven't played a game in Philadelphia since the 16-17 season when you guys took on Michigan State at the
Correct.
Palestra. Has there been any attempt to get back into the city, whether it be for a non-conference or a relocated Big Ten game?
It's something my sport administrator, Lynn Holleran, and I talk about every year. Is this the time to go back? It's the same thing with rec hall. Should we go back to rec? Is it time? Because we don't want to wear out that that type of welcome. We want people to be excited about it. So, we're always talking about Rec Hall. We're always talking about the Palestra. What's the Sixers arena now? Wachovia? Is it still Wachovia? Does anybody know that? Wells Fargo. Thank you. Showing my age now. And I've been gone a while, so Wells Fargo. It would be cool to play in there, a one-off. So I liked Atlantic City. I felt that got me somewhat close. So that's why we chose that game to be a neutral site game and only a one-off type game. But we're always looking for ideas, either Atlantic City, Philadelphia, or Madison Square Garden. I thought Penn Staters really showed up in New York last year. I mean, 11,500, most since 2005. And even in the Big Ten championships, they showed up. So I think if we can get one in MSG, Palestra, Wells Fargo, or Atlantic City, I think that's really hitting our recruiting footprint. And our families, our players' families are all from there. Yep.
Hey, Coach.
How you doing?
Just a little bit about Myron. He was kind of a late commit. Can you just talk about the recruiting process to get him here? Obviously, decommitting from Missouri, and what have you seen from him so far?
So he decommitted from. I'm just going to help you out. He decommitted from Memphis. Yeah. So I had a couple long conversations with Tubby Smith. We had seen him play, and had offered him, but knowing the relationship he had down there, we kind of backed off, and he committed to Tubby. But once Tubby left, we kind of got back on it. We wanted either a fifth year or another guy that could come in and play right away and help us from the guard spot. That was the plan all off season. Some of the things we wanted to do, and I think we got a top 100 player, a kid who they call his nickname is Buckets, so you can ask him that. And what's Buckets mean? The kid scores on every level. He hits shots that I'm still not sure, even when I'm watching film, how he made that shot. But he's a kind of a quiet kid, but man, he loves to play the game of basketball. He's a hard worker, and we're very fortunate to pick him up late. And he's going to play critical minutes, trust me.
Hey, Coach.
Yep.
Going back to Lamar and Josh, what are their individual leadership strengths, and how do they work together to really help drive this team?
Yeah, that's a good question. Lamar's more of the vocal one, right? Lamar's more of the maybe the Trace, if I can use that, Trace McSorley. And then, Josh is more the one who's going to put his arm around you and kind of say, hey, this is, he cares about you, he loves you, it's not personal. And, kind of talk to him more in a quiet tone where Lamar might really get after you and try to push you and drive you. And his expectations are very high for himself and for this team. And we need that guy. So, good cop, bad cop, I guess you could say. But I think that the combination of those two, along with John Hara, has been a phenomenal leadership council. These guys are so dialed in and come up with great ideas to help the program continue to get better. Is that it? Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Defensive Player of the Year, and Lamar Stevens, who is honorable mention All Big Ten, and as also you may be aware, the 2018 NIT Most Outstanding Player. So we will open it up for questions. Please raise your hand so we will pass you the mic so everyone can hear the questions.
Hey, Josh. Coach said a little earlier that you guys still want to be the same defensive-minded team, and obviously that speaks well to some of the things you do well. How have some of the younger guys, some of the freshmen, kind of got adjusted to that defensive style of play that you guys like, and especially with Jamari's impact as well, kind of bringing them along?
Yeah, just trying to bring as much energy as we can during practice to show them what it's going to be like during games, what it's going to be like during practice for the rest of the season. And they're just willing to learn and listen, and they're very coachable. All the new guys, the transfers, the freshmen, everybody's just been very coachable, understanding different roles and trying to understand the concepts. I know it's a lot to throw at them at one time, so coach has been doing a really good job on spreading out, teaching the concepts, and just learning progressively as we go along. And they've just been doing a really good job just being very coachable and just listening.
Lamar, on kind of the opposite note for the offense this season, Coach said that they've been doubling you a lot in practice just to kind of get you ready for opposing teams when non-conference in Big Ten, just keying in on stopping you. Now without Tony and Shep, now you're stepping into a more leadership role on the offensive end.
So what's the question?
Oh, sorry, how have you, sorry, how have you responded to that? And is it something that you're mentally preparing for, or is that something that just comes as it goes?
I think coach has done a great job at preparing me. I watch a lot of film with the coaches, just how I can be effective in the game if I am being double teamed to get the other players good shots because now everybody's in a scramble mode. And honestly, my teammates have been great, being confident, making plays, making big time shots. It's been really good so far, playing out of the double team. And I think, we're getting better every day at it.
Just given the success that you guys had last year, do you anticipate being treated any differently in the Big Ten this year, and by just opponents in general in terms of the type of effort they give against you guys?
Honestly, I feel like teams are going to prepare for us the same way. I feel like we've really made a name for ourselves in the Big Ten. We competed really well last year. We won a lot of big games, and teams are starting to understand that. When we went to the Big Ten Media Day, a lot of coaches were saying they don't like preparing for us because of the type of team we are. So it's just a type of thing that we've earned over time. So I think it's just going to continue to grow.
And maybe just to follow up, what type of satisfaction does that bring you guys, just given how long you've been here and maybe the respect that you had been given previously in your careers?
When I first got here, we were already placed to be 12, 13, at the bottom of the league, a few other teams. And it's just been a really good feeling just knowing that we were able to get to the top 6 last year at the end of the season. And we were able to do a lot of great things and prove to a lot of people that we can actually compete with anybody in the country. And like you said, it's been really satisfactory just knowing that we were the team that were able to do that. We were just a collective unit, and we followed the game plan, and we just executed it to the best of our abilities. And just the players that we had, it just made it so much more special.
Lamar, going off of the previous question, how have your own expectations changed given that you won the NIT and were the most valuable player in the NIT?
For the team?
Yes.
I think the sky is the limit for our team. We have a lot of talent and a lot of talented guys, freshmen specifically, that a lot of people don't know about, and that can really, really, really play and impact the game in a lot of ways. John Harar has been great for us. Jamari has been great for us. I think that those are two guys that are also going to surprise a lot of people. So if we continue at this path that we're on right now, keep getting better each day at practice, then the sky's the limit for this team, honestly.
Lamar, it doesn't look like you've stopped lifting weights anytime recently. I mean, have you done any physical alterations this offseason, knowing that more and more of that load's going to be on your shoulders?
I think I came into it with the same approach as I did last year. I learned from my freshman year how important, that aspect is to being a successful player in the team. So going into this year, we have a great strength and conditioning coach, and Greg Miskinnis, and he really pushes us to our limits, each day, each day in the off season, and that's really prepared me, to be in the best shape possible. I think I am in the best shape that I've ever been in, and I'm as strong as I've ever been as well. So I came in with the same approach that I did last year. They're equally important.
And Josh, Jamari's got a lot of your character traits. We talked about that last year. How has he done in the off season? Sometimes those off seasons can be even bigger than the seasons themselves in terms of development and everything. How is he doing?
He's gotten a lot better, offensively and defensively. He's anticipating a lot better. He's being more vocal. He's bringing a lot more energy, and he's just, even since the summer, like he said, during workouts and stuff, he's been pushing everybody to be their best. He's been being loud and communicative. I think that's the word. And he's just, like I've always said, he's really annoying because he always brings so much energy, and even if it's at 5:30 in the morning, you can always tell when Jamari's in the room. You can always tell when Jamari's coming through a door. He's always been that person. He's always going to try to get better and push everybody to be better.
Kind of going off of that, how I would say Kim and Tony have completely different styles. So how much of an adjustment has it been with him at the point, and kind of how's the offense been working with him so far?
It's been working great. Jamari has grown a new level of confidence in his own game, and he takes pride in what he does really well. So it hasn't really been much of a difference. We know what Jamari could bring when he played with him in practice and in the games last year. And he's, like I said, he's taking pride in what he does really well. He's doing a great job of making everybody better as a point guard, and he's been getting really confident in his shot. So it's been a pretty easy transition.
Josh, a little bit ago, Coach compared Isaiah to you, just similar play styles in both being lefties and being lengthy and having good verticals. What kind of impact has he made just in practice this year? I know he's got to sit out a year for transfer rules, but going down the road, what kind of impact do you think he can make, not just on this team this year, but obviously in years to come?
I think he like you said, there's a lot of similar traits. I know the guys kind of joke about it when, like me, and when they see Isaiah do something, or like in pickup or during practice that I've done in the past, or at that age or a year. And it's just, I mean, I feel like he can make the same impact that I do on the defensive end. He's been really good, just paying attention and learning and just trying to get better every day. I know he has a year, like you said, so he's been really working on his game, getting everything more consistent and just being more patient. So I feel like he can actually make a really big impact when his time's coming up.
Hey, Lamar. Between your time at Roman Catholic and your first 2 years here at Penn State, I'm going to guess it's the first time in a long time you prepared for a season without Tony around.
Right.
What's that been like for you, and without having Tony, here to prepare with you?
It's been different. I've played with Tony for a majority part of my life, but we have such a great team. It's hard for me to say there's been a huge difference. Everybody is so coachable. Everybody is so together, and everybody's looking really to get better every day. And we have a really talented team, so it hasn't really been too much of a difference. It's weird just not having a friend around, but other than that, on the court, this team has been great. And like I told him earlier, the transition has been easy.
Josh, Pat Chambers mentioned that he really likes the personalities of DK and Miles. So far, what have they already added to the locker room?
They're very two different personalities that I don't think we've had on this team. DK is very quiet and he's very to himself, but when he does get comfortable around people, he's very vocal and he's very joking. So it's kind of funny to see when he does get comfortable with people and he does make those comments that you don't see coming. And then just as far as Miles, I've known Miles for years now, going back to when he was in 7th and 8th grade. And I've always been very close to him. I've always talked to him and treated him like he was a brother of mine. And they're just coming to the team. I just feel like they both just do a really good job of just trying to understand everything. They know they're not going to understand everything in one day. And they're very willing to ask questions. They're very willing to contribute to the team any way that they can. And it's just a learning process from here on out. They're just going to get better every single day.
Question for either one of you, really. Coach said that he had 4, spots in the starting lineup pretty much nailed down, but he said that the 5th spot is a battle between the freshmen. What have you seen from the freshmen in practice? Is it really as intense as Coach made it out to be?
It's very intense. They're all hungry for that spot, and you could just tell, and they all work their butts off every day, whether it's before practice, after practice, in the morning. They're all in here nonstop, and that battle has been intense, and it's been really, great to see that, they're coming really hungry and wanting to be, step into that role. And I think all of them are capable. All of them are really confident, and whatever one does end up getting that spot, I think they're all going to be great, off the bench starting. So I don't think it's really that big of a deal, but they're talented, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys know how intense Coach Chambers is, he brings that same intensity out of people, and he brings the same energy every single day. He tries to get people to compete more than they've ever competed before, and those are, like, all the freshmen are already very competitive people. Like, people may be quiet, people may be more vocal, people may crack jokes more, but when they step on the court, like, they're fighting for something, and they all know it, and they all know that they're all fighting for a spot to either play more minutes or get an extra minute here or there. Like, they're very, very competitive, and they're really just showing it every single day and just sacrificing their bodies and just trying to take charges, diving on the floor, just doing anything to show that they are a tough-minded player. They are tough and physical. They are a Penn State basketball player and can contribute.
Josh, be honest. How many times have you watched the dunk that sealed the game against Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament? One.
I don't necessarily watch the dunk. I kind of watched the reaction that I had afterwards. It was just such a surreal moment. Like, it's still, like, every time I see a picture of it or see a video or somebody tags me in it on social media, like, it's just, like, I get goosebumps still. Like, it was just a spur of the moment thing that I didn't even think I was doing, and then I had the ball, and it was just an amazing feeling. And then I just tried to focus in on what was going on in the game. Everybody was yelling, but just watching the video and just knowing that it's something that I'll always remember. It's a surreal feeling.
And for both of you, as good as that moment was, how difficult was it to get so close, even though you did win the NIT, but get so close and get left out of the NCAA tournament last year?
It was really difficult at first, but we used that, as motivation going into the NIT to prove to everybody in the country that we are an NCAA team. And I think that we did. And I think, the way we handled opponents in the NIT showed what we're capable of and possibly what we could have done if we were in the tournament.
Hey, Josh, Lamar, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Really a question for both of you. What stands out to you the most about playing for Pat over your career, and in what ways has he made both of you a better player?
What stands out the most is just probably his willingness to always find ways for me to get better, whether it's reading a book or watching film or just talking to me or just taking me on the court and actually doing an individual workout with me, anything. I think that's something he really devotes to all of his teams and his players, that he really does care, his genuine care for everybody. And I think that's something not most coaches around the country would do, want everybody to get better and reach their full potential in every way.
Yeah, I was going to say just the relationship he's built. I know I can go to Coach Chambers for anything. He's been there with me through the easy times and the bad times, and he's always been there to. He's like a uncle I never had, somebody I could really go to and talk to about anything, and it's just over the years, it's just our bond has just gotten greater every single day. He asks me how I'm doing. Is everything okay? Like, just stuff like that. You just don't get that anywhere. And I feel like that gets me better. That makes me know, like, I'm playing for somebody who really cares about me. And that makes you want to compete even more. That makes you want to get after it every single day, even harder than you did the day before. So that's the biggest thing.
Lamar, last season during the NIT, we saw you become more of a consistent three-point shooter, and especially in the last two games at the Garden. What have you done throughout the offseason to make sure that's a more consistent aspect of your game heading into the season?
I shot a lot every day. That's what I did.
Great answer.
Any other questions for Josh or Lamar? All right, give us a few moments. We'll have the players ready to go in the practice facility at